I hit the start broadcast button. Sooner or later, it's going to say this hangout on air is live. So, Project Nikeza. I'm starting to get tired, man. I've been trying to do every single night, dedicate half an hour to an hour to Nikeza because I want to ship her. I am getting tired, man. Like an inmate doing 20, I've been patiently waiting, and I'm getting really, really anxious. You don't know how anxious I am to get this thing shipped so I can put on my resume I delivered an open source project. All right. So with that said, you can tell I'm getting anxious, man. I want to get this done. I'm getting cranky and irritated, man. It's close. So let me share my screen. Like, come here. Where's my screen at? Come here. So I'm like, okay. So I'm sharing my screen. Present to everybody. And what is Project Nikeza? Project Nikeza. Well, if you don't know what Project Nikeza is, then you could look at, my weekly videos that are titled Elm: My Journey of Learning Elm, week number, and then whatever number, right? And so this stuff is on like my YouTube. This is right here. My stuff is on like my Bismonger WordPress site, right? So if I go to this bismongerwordpress.com, like this is me and Shawnee chopping it up from a couple of nights ago. We were spacing out that night, but whenever you see this whole like Nikeza screen right here, I do a lot of almost every single Sunday. I'll publish a status update on the Nikeza UI, which is written in Elm. Elm is a functional programming language that pretty much spits out JavaScript. It abstracts away the JavaScript from the developer so that I don't have to deal with it. An example of that is like this Elm week 8 of my journey, right? And I've been doing this almost every Sunday. I didn't do it last Sunday because, well, I wasn't working on Elm. I was working on the back end. And so this is what this particular session is about. It's about the back end. So with that said, I'm going to take this video. I'm going to publish it right on top of this Leading a Team in Universe. You can check that out. I like talking to Sean, man. We talk about some stuff, It's amazing how much you have in common and how much you can like just really vibe with someone, even if they're like several states away. Anyway, with that said, let me take you into my world, okay? Where do you want me to take you first? You want me to take you to the client, to the Elm client? Okay, well, come here. Where you at, Elm client? Client app, come here. So this is where you at? Come here. Yeah. So this is the Elm client, right? Hence app, and this is home.elm, and this is a really too long of a file. Some of it is to blame of Elm format tool that pretty much puts everything on a single line. But this is the client of Nikeza. Nikeza is Zulu for give, right? Zulu being the African language for give. And so what does that mean? Well, Nikeza is essentially a platform for giving. Really, it's a platform for subscribing, in which you don't have to go to individual websites of your favorite expert, your favorite thought leader. You go to one website, regardless of where their content is located. You go to one website. You could think of Nikeza as like the Priceline or the Expedia.com, but for experts, where you don't have to go to every single website such as YouTube or WordPress or Vimeo or Stack Overflow or .Net Rocks or Legacy Code Rocks or SE radio, or should I say software engineering radio. No, you don't have to do any of that. The intent of Nikeza is to take the web footprint that a content provider, aka expert, is on and streamline it onto one platform. So you can subscribe and so you could get notified when new content by your favorite domain expert, aka thought provider, is out there, right? So with that said, come here, come here, come here. With that said, I'm trying to get in the zone right now. I'm kind of delirious. With that said, how do I do this? I just like kick off the film live, and I haven't messed with the client, so there shouldn't be too many bugs on here. And sooner or later, it's probably thinking about the command that I just gave it, and it's going to spit out a web application. That's essentially what it's going to do. Is it's going to spit out a web application. Here's the web application. Right, you see a handsome guy at the very top of the food chain. That's me, Bizmonger. My name is Scott Nimrod. And, well, there's a little search functionality on here like Pablo. Pablo just recorded a podcast approximately an hour ago that was really good. So you can check out the Lambda Cartel podcast episode 11, right? But there's also members such as Odie, you know? And right now, Mitch is my favorite right now. Where's Mitch at? There's videos of Mitchell and I pair programming. We have at least 2 of them on YouTube. So anyway, that's filtering, right? If you want to like just check out people's content, such as Pablo, well, this is categorized as answers, articles, podcasts, and videos. There's also a filter up here, right? And we can play with the filter. Yeah. So this is the Nikeza client. You know, there's a little back button, you know, and you can join, right? You can log in. Come here. Yeah, you can log in, okay? And for this whole recent right here means that there's been recent publications of content that I have subscribed to from my favorite thought leaders, aka experts. And so we see that, you know, recent links, and that 3 is probably off because there's 2 that I see here. And so this will represent, you know, a link that is recent, some .NET Core podcast, some property-based testing answer. And in addition to recents, you have your own portfolio stuff. If you notice that there's some highlight, some gray highlight, in which it's all at the top of a list based on each category. Well, these are featured links, right? And so this is pretty much set up for content providers on this Nikeza platform to show off links that they are proud of or content that they are proud of by basically specifying that, you know, a link is something that they want to show up at the top of the list. And so, for example, you can do that by pretty much going to one of the categories such as all answers, and you can deselect and reselect, you know. That's funny. So nothing's featured, and if I want to feature something, well, something's featured now. That's a bug. All right, I don't think it should do that. But anyway, I got to fix that. That is how you feature content. In addition, if you want to add an arbitrary link, you can do that, such as providing a title, like some title. And you could do some link.com. You could do whatever topics that are associated to that links, like I don't know what else is in here. Xamarin Forms, right? So if you make a mistake and you say, hey, it's not really WPF, well, you can just remove that as a topic, and you select a content type like video or something, and you could just add a link like that, all right? And then you have your subscriptions, such as I'm subscribed to Pablo. You also have your followers. This would be my followers, Mitchell and Odie. And then you have your members on the Nikeza platform. There you go, okay? You also have sources over here, in which source you could select a platform, such as YouTube. You could say, well, my name is Bizmonger, right? Come here, Bizmonger. And well, it's already down here, so maybe I should check something else like Vimeo and just say Bizmonger. I could add that, and well, ultimately, when this stuff is all wired up, you know, then it'll say 100 links or 200 links or 1 link or whatever. This is basically your data sources, okay? So that's it. The title of this is Debugging a Unit Test within .NET Core. But I just wanted to show you the client before I show you the integration tests. So let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. So I guess I could hide you, you know. Let me hide you. All right. So how do I do that? This is the Elm client. I'm using Visual Studio Code, and I want to open up this Nikeza test. Okay. This Nikeza test. Well, here's my integration test. Integration test, we're talking to SQL Server. And if you notice, I have an integration test called, well, follow provider, right? That's dealing with my subscription, right? Another one is unsubscribe from provider, right? Another one is feature link. That's what I talked about earlier, okay? Another one is unfeature link, right? Another one is register profile, right? When you're brand new to the site and you want to register your profile so that you can start basically publishing content regardless of the platform, and your subscribers, they get notifications that, hey, you got a YouTube video out. Hey, you just answered a question on Stack Overflow. Hey, this, hey, that. Well, you got to first register. You got to register your profile. And this update profile, well, maybe you want to update your bio of your profile, or maybe you want to update the email address of your profile, you know. And then we get down here, right? So let me first take you and say, if you wanted to execute unit tests, you could say .net and then you say test, okay? So I could do that. And sooner or later, hopefully, it will execute my test, and it'll just be green, right? Because last time I checked, all 6 of my integration tests passed. And I just checked it into GitHub literally like half an hour ago, you know? And so we see that test run is successful. It is pretty green. It says out of 6 tests, 6 of them passed, 0 failed, and 0 skipped, okay? So with that said, if you notice that, well, hell's bells, I got breakpoints, you know, in some of these tests, and they never got triggered, right? Why didn't my breakpoints get triggered, right? And that's a good question. They don't get triggered, and I haven't figured out a reason why. So translated, I have not figured out how to run my unit tests and basically run my unit tests in debug mode so that I can step through code, hover my cursor over values, and make intelligent decisions on why my tests are failing. Haven't been able to figure that out yet from a unit or integration test runtime perspective, okay? Haven't been able to figure it out. But what I can tell you is that, well, I don't run it as a test. I'll just run it as a program. And I found that out on Stack Overflow. I found it out on Stack Overflow. In fact, if you want to see my question on Stack Overflow, I'll show you my question on Stack Overflow, okay? I said, oh, where are you at? Come here, come here. Somewhere in here, I said, where am I at? Come here, come here, come here. How do I execute tests in debug mode using .NET Core and VS Code? And well, someone commented, well, people liked my question. You see, I got like 6 votes for this question, right? And someone, Wally, said, well, for what it's worth, I use XUnit, .NET Core, F#, VS Code. The XUnit template includes a main function. The .NET test ignores that function, but I can call one of the tests from the main function. And I was like, yeah, that's this right here, right? And I'm like, I never thought about that before. Like, honestly, that makes sense. I mean, it's not what I wanted initially, but it's a workaround, right? So I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. I understand it. At the end of the day, it's just methods. So let me go ahead and add an entry point to this file and add a function called main, and let me just call one of the test methods from inside here. And that's exactly what I did. I called one of the test methods inside of my main function that has the entry point attribute on it, so it's the first thing to get executed. So if you want to see how that works, well, I just hit F5, because, well, I can't run my tests in debug mode. I haven't figured out how to do that. But if I just hit F5, then I'm in debug mode, and we see this breakpoint just hit this clean data store, right? Now, this colors is messed up. They need to correct the colors on Visual Studio Code, especially dealing with breakpoints, because it's kind of hard to read the characters, you know? So anyway, I am debugging this. What is this right here? Why am I cleaning the data store? So something that I noticed is, let me step out of this. Oh yeah. I'm cleaning the database before I actually call an integration test method, which is smart. So anyway, what I noticed is I don't have a call stack. I have not been able to figure out where my call stack is in Visual Studio Code. Like, I don't see it. I'm in debug menu and I don't see a call stack. But anyway, so I'm in my update profile test method. This is using fsunit and inunit, right? Hence the imports appear of fsunit and inunit, okay? And then I have my domain logic and also a dependency on SQL Server Client via ADO.NET. Now I have my Nikeza.test API. And that's where I have a lot of my test infrastructure at. Anyway, we go back down to testing this update profile integration test, and yay, like you see me, I mean, I'm stepping through code in my test. Yes, I'm not running the code as a test, but I'm able to basically step through the test method, or basically use the debugger and step through the test method, and voila, that's what I'm doing. And I'm just la 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 la. However, I noticed that when I actually attempt to assert that the test, or assert that my test actually works, or let me say this a different way. When I attempt to do verification within my test method, it always fails. And so that's what I noticed. So usually I have to step through my test method code in the debugger until I get to my assert. And my assert with fsunit is usually like this should equal. This is like my assert, which you can't really see. Can I move this up? No. But anyway, so it usually crashes right here. Uh-oh. It usually crashes right here. And this is only when I am stepping through the test method as if I were calling a normal method. This will always throw an exception, right? Specifically a null reference exception that more than likely stems from this in-unit framework, as it's saying right over here. So something wasn't really instantiated, some miscellaneous object. However, that's all I need to do, right? Because this is just the assert part. And, well, I care more about the actual logic up to that point. So I'm able to step through code, you know? So I just demoed an example of that, and that's it. And by the way, this is the integration test for Nikeza. If I do Control-Shift-E, you see my Solution Explorer, and you see this is integration test FS. If you want to actually see the domain logic, and then I just remembered there's some refactoring I need to do on here because some of the code is out of place. But this is Nikeza server, and this Nikeza server pretty much has this model, which is this right here, which has a whole bunch of types that are basically going to serve as requests, but also have, you know, discriminated union values that represent a command, and discriminated union values that represent requests. And I need to write some tests to basically test these requests of get links, get followers, get subscriptions. I don't think I have that. Maybe I do, but I don't think I do. And the data store, is some Mitchell did some refactoring. He made it look awesome, or at least a lot more awesome than what I had originally. This data store is, well, this is a data gateway, right? This is how you perform CRUD operations within Nikeza as of August 10th, 2017. So that's pretty much it. I had to hard code my connection string because I couldn't figure out why this wasn't working. But yeah, that's it. So let me go back to me. Let me stop sharing my screen. Let me stop sharing my screen. So in conclusion, I went over the Nikeza client. Then I went over a technique, aka workaround, that can be used to basically use the debugger to step through your test methods in .NET Core. And I say .NET Core. It doesn't have the tooling that your usual .NET framework has. It's been really painful, but this is me really solidifying my understanding of .NET Core, of the .NET Core environment, ecosystem, and workaround. So the more that I repeat what I just recently learned, the more it becomes internalized in me. And well, that's what matters, is my mind just automatically just inherits what I'm talking about, and I don't really have to think that much. It's just boom, 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 autopilot. So that's it. I'm killing this broadcast, and I'm adding this to my blog post. So I'm out. Peace. Adios. De veo a ratito. Straight out of Miami. I'm Scott Nimrod. I do functional programming. I do WPF. I do Xamarin. I'm a software development coach. If your software developers are struggling, they don't know how to prove that their code works, and you keep seeing the same bug over and over again, your customers see the same bug over and over again, and it takes forever to validate that the code works every single time you publish an update, and well, your developers are just really struggling, well, hey, let me know. Give me a phone call, reach out to me, and I'll issue provide a free consultation, and we can take it from there. I want to help, and I want to basically save you a lot of money and also make you a lot of money. I'm in here in Miami, but I mean, I've done work as far as the Philippines. So that's it. Adios. Te veo a ratito. I'm out. Peace.